Almost 18 months after Australia's worst bushfire disaster, Victoria's timber industry is yet to feel the full effects. Vast tracts of both plantation timber and native forests were consumed in fires, setting up a supply dilemma for the future. Jane Cowan reports.
When you think about the Victorian bushfires, you think about the human suffering. But the timber industry is still recovering from the commercial loss.
Oh, devastating. As far as we're aware, we're the largest private asset loss in Victoria. We lost about 16,500 hectares, and to put that in perspective, that's about 10% of our estate we lost in a 24-hour period.
Then there are the native forests, 50,000 hectares of productive land, or 10 years' worth of product was incinerated.
We also, last season, lost the bulk of our harvest period because our entire staff were out fighting the fires for a period of about 8 weeks.
It's bad news for sawmillers like Gary Denby.
I'm guessing at about 20% reduction in sustainable yield. Basically, two operations the size of this could disappear.
There will be some sawmills, I think, over time, which will certainly go out of business.
Because of the resource situation in Australia, where we have a situation where the native forest resource is pretty well stable, and we also have a plantation resource that hasn't really grown considerably in recent times, particularly for sawlog wood. There's a limited ability for industry in other states to really pick up any slack, and put that together with the increase in imported timber from overseas, and you have a difficult situation for the domestic industry to cover this situation.
I wouldn't say it's a disaster long term, but it is extremely difficult. Okay, there will be some restructuring on these fires.
Vic Forests has managed to salvage $70 to $80 million worth of logs from the burnt areas, turning a $5.5 million loss last year into roughly the same amount of expected profit this year. HVP is in the midst of a $50 million replanting program. Even replanting at twice the usual rate, it will take Hancock Victoria Plantations 5 winters to rebuild. And even though the company says customers aren't affected now, they will be in 7 to 10 years.
You can't replace this quickly enough. It takes 30 years to grow these trees. So the trees are in the ground, all ready to supply the customers at that point.
It doesn't affect our contractual obligations. We can meet all of those. But it does affect the degree to which we can contract ourselves to obligations beyond the period for which we have already got contracts.
Yeah, if one of those fires of a comparable size occurs again within the next 5 or 10 years, it will be very, very serious for the industry in Victoria.